comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome in, sinners. It is episode 53 of Sports Idiot Nation. We come to you, of course, every Monday and Thursday, and we are
Hold on. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and warn everybody. Today is Adam's birthday, so
I was going to get there.
You're probably going to hear him make a reference to about how today is the greatest day that was ever made.
Sports history.
Today is God's gift to human beings all across
and
the
women.
Universe, and women, and men, and farm animals, and whatever else.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this, Tia. Why don't you make yourself useful instead of just, first I'll say about my birthday, it's 44.
Oh, there we go.
And so,
there we go. See, look, we're not even a minute in. Not even a minute in. Here he is talking about his birthday.
Remember that commercial? 44, that's me. I'm going to get some cold cuts today.
Yeah.
That's me, 44, so I'm good. But T.I.,
I'm 40.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you make yourself actually useful instead of just making fun of me on my freaking birthday and explain why am I outnumbered even though Miles is not with us?
Well, today we have a special guest here. We have none other than a Titans legend amongst legends, Mr. Titan himself, my buddy Alex, one of the OGs, fighting the good fight on the Two-Tone Blue Nation there. So, naturally when we started putting this thing together, Alex, I've talked to him a couple times about popping on whenever we actually got our crap together. And now that we are 50 episodes in and starting to find our footing, now that the Titans season has crumbled into shambles, figure we could all just pick ourselves up off the floor and just journey on with the rest of 2025. But so if you guys aren't familiar with Alex here, definitely check him out on YouTube. Nonstop heavy hitters coming through his channel. Great interviews with former Titans players, coaches, you name it. Announcers. I mean, he is all across the board really doing it. But I don't want to speak for Alex himself, so I'll let him give us a little background as well. But thanks for joining us, my friend. I wish Miles was here to kick it with us, but he is not. But we'll have you back on when he's on as well. So
thank you for having me on, both of you guys. Adam, happy birthday. And it's been rough for Titan fans, especially this year. 24-25 season, and we're like, it was rough. But you got to keep grinding and keep putting content out there. And I appreciate you and your friendship. And let's get this thing rolling, man.
Yeah, let's do it. So I got a few questions here. You live near Dallas, correct?
Yeah, I live in Texas. Yes, sir.
And you're originally from
Jersey.
Okay, so let's break this down. We have a Tennessee Titan fan from Jersey, like our girl Adriana. Shout out to that episode with Adriana. And you live in Texas, which, by the way, you live very close to where our one Miles behind enemy lines, where he moved to. So we definitely got to link you guys, and so that you guys can hang out and still watch Titans games together. But tell us that story a little bit, because I thought I was weird, but I'm from the Bay Area and I live in Indiana. And yeah, that's weird, but I'm still from the Bay. So that's not as weird. I'm not as big a weirdo, idiot as you. So let's hear it.
All right. So, hey, man, I'm about to take your happy birthday wish back. All right.
That's right. Take it back, Alex.
Yeah,
take it back. He doesn't deserve it,
man. I'm about to
deserve it.
Okay. You know what? No. Like I said, growing up, Jersey. I mean, you have the Giants, you have the Jets, you have Yankees.
The Titans. Wait.
Let me explain, man. Let me explain.
The New York Titans. The New York Titans at one point, right?
At one point.
Yeah.
I didn't get into football until 99. I was ready by then. I was, 10 years old. And the first team that, kind of came up was the Tennessee Titans. And, seeing Steve McNair and Eddie George, and I kind of just fell in love with the team. And I kind of, like I said, at that time, I was living in Florida, and all my relatives, and my dad was a big Dolphins fan. I kind of wanted my own identity, so I chose the Tennessee Titans and never looked back. So the short, quick, easy story.
Okay,
So,
that's fair.
all right.
I mean, it's how a lot of that happens when you're younger, when you first get introduced. It's kind of like, hey, whoever the good team is at the time, whoever is making a lot of noise,
You go for a lot of players. Like a lot of kids like certain players and stuff, and you kind of follow the players for a little bit until you're like, okay, well now I kind of want my own team and stuff. Like, who do I root for? And like I said, my favorite position in football is a running back, and I mean Eddie George. Eddie George was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't waver. So at least I'll give you that. Like, because there were some down years after 99 in between still where, where Peyton Manning kind of ran the division and
good luck. I mean, we had times.
And you didn't waver. So I will at least give you that like you had time to abandon ship and you're like, I'm going down with it. I'm going down with the ship. I'm just
well, that's kind of like an idiot from like my part. Like you could have picked any other team. Like if they're doing bad, like hey, this is time to jump ship right now. You can go save yourself. But you know what? It's all worth it. At the end, when we get a Super Bowl, it's going to be glorious.
Well, if you guys really, I think if you can get some big name players, like a AJ Brown, or if you could get, man, that guy they got in Baltimore is really good, guys. If you guys have some players, maybe.
You know what, Adam? Where you said Indiana? You know what? I'm about to go with it.
Yeah, you're about to come through.
Two names you ready? You're not supposed to say as Titan fans, right? He's taking
your birthday wish twice now.
Yeah, man. It's like saying like Voldemort's name in like Harry Potter. You're not supposed to say like AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, and Ken Wisenhunt. You say those names and people start like twitching.
Ken Wisenhunt.
Yeah, that's a good pull right there, Ken Wisenhunt.
Oh man, that guy.
So we'll get into more Titan stuff here. I want to pick your brain on where you live, man, because we talked about this as we were waiting for TI to get into our nice virtual studio here. Isn't it cozy in here, man? I forget to ask the guests how they're feeling. This is a good little studio, right? This little virtual studio we got, right?
Yeah, my box here is great. I like my little box. It's really nice.
Yeah, the man in your box.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube, and this will make more sense.
TI, no one listens to us on Spotify. I got the numbers. I'm just
That's right. There's like 3 people. I think it's you, me, and Miles.
Exactly. This is your reminder. The the best way to watch us is on YouTube. Follow us wherever you get your social media at Sports Idiot Nation. The link is in the show notes to follow, of course, Alex as well. So, but this is what I want to find out from you, man. So you live in Dallas country, and just a couple days ago, everyone is on Jerry Jones. Like, what I don't understand is he didn't get Ben Johnson. He didn't get Aaron Glenn. He didn't do any of those names who have either coached before or had a better resume. He goes with Schottenheimer's son. That's what I'm going to call him. And he calls him out basically in the freaking presser by like saying, oh, this guy is a big risk. Like, Jerry, he's standing right there, bro. Like, what are you doing? If you don't think I can be outside my comfort zone, you don't understand anything at all. This is a big risk. Dude, say it like maybe when he's not in the room, or say it when it's not his presser. It's his presser. And the man just lost his father and is crying, like, in the presser. And Jerry decides to just, like, take over and make it literally about him. Big risk. And, like, dude, how can you be a Cowboy fan? And I know none of us are, but you live in Cowboy country. Like, what is the newspaper like there? What are like sports radio? Like, what is it like, dude?
People, it's Jerry. It's Jerry Jones at its finest. And what happens is that unless they stop going to the games and stop putting money into the stadium, into his pocket,
they won't.
But they won't. They don't. They're just too diehard. The first preseason game they win, they think they're going to the Super Bowl again. It's the craziest. It's the best yet worse curse. I thought Dolphin fans, when I was living in Miami, was pretty bad. Man, these people take the cake. I mean, these Cowboy fans, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of them. They do travel a lot. But they're just so delusional. It's kind of sad, but it is fun. Like I said,
Awesome.
I like watching the season unfold and them unravel slowly, week to week. It's the best. So
Yeah, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is like, yeah, I believe in this kid. I'm going to take a risk. I believe in him, And
A big risk.
By the way, I'm pretty sure it's going to fail. It's like, come on, man.
Why didn't you get Dion?
Yeah,
just pay him the money, dude. You have it.
He's too cheap. He didn't want to pay him.
Yeah, that's part of the deal too. That's why he's the acting GM. He's like, I can just do 2 jobs.
I mean, look,
but he can't do either.
He didn't want to play Derrick Henry, who wanted to go to the Cowboys. So
yeah,
you think he's gonna pay Dion? That's crazy.
He's like, he says they couldn't afford Derrick Henry. It's like, you could have gladly.
Derrick Henry would have taken a pay cut. I know people personally that know Derrick Henry, and they said he wanted to come, he wanted to stay because he lives outside in Dallas, and they didn't offer him anything. They didn't. That's wild.
Yeah, they don't make.
Regardless of Derrick Henry making it to the AFC Championship or not, like that's a name and a player you don't just kind of pass up on.
Yeah, for sure. Jerry Jones.
So,
it's like Weekend at Bernie's out there, man. That dude's he's been gone. He's been gone for like 5 years. It's just like they're just like puppeteering him,
It's his son.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: we talked about a player that you can't pass up. You guys have the number 1 pick because you guys really suck bad, and so because of that, congrats. I want to get your take. Because I got to hear it from T.I. all the time, so I'd rather hear it from you. What are your thoughts on just Travis Hunter? What is your thoughts on the field? Who do you got, the field or Travis Hunter?
See, here's the thing: the Titans need a lot. They're missing a lot of pieces. It's not like
that's a lot of mayonnaise.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like there's not just one thing that's going to be like, okay, this player is going to change the whole franchise. You need a bunch of them. My initial thought is I'm not too sold on Sanders. I'm not too sold on Cam either. Now, if don't get me wrong, if we pick him, hey, you know what? I didn't care for Marcus Mariota. They picked him up. He's the quarterback. I support him. Now, do I want him? No, not really. I think if you want to get the best player, it's Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is the best player in the draft. But like I said, is he going to change the Titans? Probably not.
Yeah.
I say draft back, try to get as much picks as possible, and kind of stick with a veteran QB and kind of wing it, see how, and try to plug. If you don't plug in the offensive line, you don't get that offensive line. It doesn't matter who you have back there; they won't be able to do anything. But like I understand, like the franchise, I understand the fan base being very, just what's the word?
Impatient.
Very impatient. Yes, very impatient. And I get it. They want it's the now. Like, if we do draft, Sanders, like he has to play now. And I don't even think if we do draft Sanders, I don't think he should just automatically start. Like there used to be a thing back in the day where they used to have they draft the player and he would sit out for maybe 1 or 2 years. Like that kind of just went like out the window, and it's kind of like instant gratification nowadays with anyone, with GM coaching. I mean,
now let me push back. Let me push back on that, because I can give you, even back in the day, guys who were selected first overall, do not sit. Those guys don't sit. You can't be drafted first overall and sit.
I get you on that one. But it depends on the situation of the team, though, too. You get a guy that's supposed to – and especially – you're right on that one. The first person that gets picked up in the draft in the first round should automatically be a playmaker, right? Should automatically be involved in the team. I get it. But I think when it comes to maybe quarterback, and yeah, you're right. There's some cases for the Tennessee Titans is different. We have a lot of bad on the offensive line. If you saw the offensive line, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't even want him to go out there yet. Like he was running for his, he's gonna be running for his life. And I get it.
Yeah.
Like if they put him in, the first year, I mean, it is what it is. But that would be my take, and I get your point, but
we'll have to see.
we're a mess, man. We're a mess, regardless who we take or what we don't do. Like we're a mess.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Do you
I
think they get him? I mean,
Sanders?
Yeah, or Travis Hunter.
I think it really depends on what the ulterior motive is. Of course, everybody wants to win games, right? But behind the scenes, we're hearing struggles of season ticket holders, not being too happy about the pricing, not being too happy about everything being, upscaled. We need to sell tickets. I mean, let's be real. If you draft Cam Ward or if you draft, Sanders, I mean, who's gonna put butts in the seats first? I mean, it's definitely going to be Sanders. So that's my whole concern is there's not a motive behind it to sell tickets as opposed to it is to fix the franchise. Because if you're just looking to sell tickets for the next 3 years, then you go Sanders.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to actually like fix the team, I don't know. I'm not knocking Sanders. He looks great in college. He looks great against that Big 12, whatever conference that he faces.
Colorado State.
I mean, let's be real, and they couldn't even really pull that through, and he couldn't even basically went out against some jobbers and win, basically get in the playoffs. So he's Deion Sanders' son. I'm struggling to find time on a Tuesday night to record a podcast. So, what do I know about football? So, but
that's the thing too, right? T.I. is we don't know what the GM is thinking. We just got a new GM. That whole front office is still trying to get on the same page. Who knows if maybe our new GM was maybe all about Sanders or maybe all about King,
sure.
Or maybe he's like, hey, let's stick it out with Will Levis. We don't know what's happening. We don't know.
Yeah.
We're clueless just as much as they are. So I don't know how I can put like that.
The four, if we're narrowing it down if we're narrowing it down to Carter, Sanders, Ward, or Hunter, I mean, that's a tough one for me. I agree. I think Hunter's the best prospect in the draft. I think Abdul Carter as well. I think if you can trade, if you're not set on a quarterback, if you could trade with Oakland, somebody like that who definitely needs a quarterback.
Giant.
And you could still get Carter and you could stockpile a couple picks. I mean, I'd be all about it because I'm kind of like you. One player is not going to make a difference. We're 2 or 3 years away from competing. I'm a firm believer in you take the best available player on the board. I think a lot of historically successful franchises do that. I think Adams Niners do that. I think the Packers do that. I think there's just teams that no matter what their need, they're not going to pass up the best player on the board. And I just hope that's what the Titans do.
And that's another thing too, right? Everyone's their first response and their first team is well, look at Jalen Daniels with the Commanders. Look what he did. Yeah, but the Commanders completely did a 360, completely changed that roster last year, changed GM and everything, and got them
and owner.
And owner, exactly. People are just oh, well, Daniels is a game changer. Yeah, but it didn't just fall into place like that. They built towards something, and that's where a lot of people that's where it comes the instant gratification, where people are they are blinded about what else happened, just that they know that they got a quarterback and now he's doing good. I'm well, and look, and he's still, when it got to, the big game, he couldn't do it, even though I do like him, but it just, he's a rookie. So
for sure.
So. Yeah, that's how it goes. Interesting to see what's going to happen with the Tennessee Titans. A reminder to check out all the links if you want swag. I got my coffee cup here, all of our gear The link is in the show notes. Remember to follow us wherever you get your social media. We are talking to Mr. Titan. And I got to ask you now, what if I were to say, because I know you'll have your Rolodex, I'm saying how old I am by saying the word Rolodex, but in your virtual Rolodex, you should have a few of these. What's one of your favorite memories as a Titan fan as you're watching the team play? What memories come up?
Well, obviously the Music City Miracle. I know my boy over here was there. Which
We've heard that story. Yes, that's awesome.
A couple other ones. I mean, there was the whole playoff run where we went to play the Patriots, and then we played Baltimore in Baltimore. It was what was it? Ti, it was 2020, 21.
Yeah, it was the
Tannehill?
yeah, it was the Tannehill. It was the year that we let Mahomes scamper right before the half.
Yeah, that one. Well, let's not talk about that one. But yes,
yeah. But before that,
and ended the whole.
It really
run.
did that backbreaker before
That
half.
play.
But
that play.
Just that whole playoff run was awesome. I really thought we were going there. I was like, wow, this it's gonna happen. But
destiny.
That was a pretty magical run. That was really.
It was.
We were all happy to get back to playoffs, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, okay, here we go.
We're making noise.
Yeah. We beat Tom Brady.
Yeah.
At home, which doesn't happen. Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I actually forgot that, to be honest, that game was in New England, because it doesn't happen. That was
that was the last Tom Brady with the Patriots.
Was that the game where Vrabel on fourth down declined the penalty?
Yep. Yeah, kept playing that little cat and mouse.
And it was really pissing off Belichick, and it's like, well, he learned it from him.
Yeah.
Right?
Great. Yeah, and with that play, everybody all of a sudden just assumed that Mike Vrabel was a football genius. And, we've realized that that's not the case right now.
And so,
I mean, hey, whatever he does in New England, hey, good luck to him. He got his wish. We all know he wanted to be there. He had one foot in New England the whole time he was in Nashville. So
yeah, he was waiting for
it.
Yeah. So is the take on Mike Vrabel then that you guys, like, looking back, for me, there are 49er coaches that it didn't pan out. Not everyone can win the freaking Super Bowl. Well, we can five times, but that's neither here nor there. But there are coaches who haven't gotten it done.
Hey, did you guys know it's Adam's birthday? Did you guys know it's Adam's birthday?
With his rolling, he's just.
I'll give you my example. Steve Mariucci, to me, is looked at in 49ers, lure that, like, he's still good. We love Mooch. He didn't get it done. He got fired, whatever. Are you guys saying that Vrabel is not at that level, that you don't like him then?
I mean, I don't have anything personally against Vrabel, but I mean, I think people hang on to the past too much.
It's time. As of right now, we'll hate him until he retires, and then eventually they'll be like, oh, you know what? He was actually pretty good. He was pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good. Yeah. Just like Derrick Henry. I was like, oh, Derrick Henry. And then they'll be like, you know what? He was pretty good. I'm like, no shit. They have. I don't know why they do that. They have a tendency of just like someone goes to other teams. Like, I hate AJ Brown. Well, he did good. You didn't hate him when he was here.
Yeah,
he got traded. What do you want to do?
You didn't hate him when you were wearing his jersey.
Exactly. Like, people gave me shit with like Bernard Pollard. They hated that I interviewed him. They're like, why did you interview Bernard Pollard? You know that he talked crap about the Titans after he left. I'm like, well, yeah, because he just won a Super Bowl with the Ravens and then went to a crappy ass organizations like the Titans that team was a wreck, and he did. And he called him out, and people didn't like that.
Yeah.
So here's my story about Bernard Pollard. You're gonna like this one, Alex.
All right, let's hear it.
So Bernard Pollard, you can look this up. You know where he's from?
No.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. He went to Southside High School. I live about 11 minutes that way from Southside High School. And I know his science teacher because I worked with her for a short time at the local middle school. And she told me a funny story. She told me, this is so on brand for NFL players. This is so good. So I never thought I'd have an opportunity to tell this story, but you literally said the guy's name. So he's Southside High School, senior in science class, not doing what he's supposed to be doing on dissecting the frog that day or whatever they're doing. And she said, Bernard, you have to take this seriously. It's not like you're going to the NFL.
Wow.
Because he was obviously, as you would assume, a stud in high school. His team was terrible, but he was a stud, right? Getting all the touchdowns, getting all the interceptions, as you would assume. And he's like, yes, I am. I'm going to the NFL, and I'm going to win me a Super Bowl. And she laughed and laughed and laughed. And it's just one of those things that's like, man, that is crazy.
You gotta
Well,
love those teachers.
his character, his attitude, it's so different, Like he says what's on his mind. He doesn't care. Like I said,
Yeah.
he was one of the
Alex, didn't you when you were interviewing him? Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. I have to go back and watch it. But didn't he make a reference about how tackling Derrick Henry is easy or something like that?
Yeah, I edited it out. I had to edit it out.
That's what it was. That's what it was. You told me about it. Okay.
Towards the end of the interview, I don't know what possessed me because it was like an obvious question that he was going to answer this, and I was like, "Hey, man, if you had a chance, like, could you tackle Derrick Henry?" And he said, "I would destroy that Joker." And I was like, "Oh my god, I have to edit this because if they didn't hate you now, they're damn gonna hate you after this." I was just like, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, thanks for coming on, Bernard. And I edited the whole ending.
That's just where like,
I was like, that was my fault. I don't know what possessed me to even ask that question. I was like,
yeah, it's almost on you for doing that.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I was just like, well, that was a setup question. That was
just
dumb.
Testing the waters a little bit,
I should just clickbait. That is prime clickbait right there. And I did it. Yeah, I didn't take it. I said, you know what? I had it. I was like, leave it like that.
Respect. Yeah. So speaking of Bernard Pollard, then let's get you out of here on this. Who is the most favorite person that you've had a chance to interview, and who do you have coming up as we start to follow you now?
Yeah, I was about to ask that same question. I'm glad Adam did.
Well, I beat you to it, so take that.
I know you just got done interviewing, the legend himself, Mr. Eddie George. So like,
wow.
Eddie George is like I said, when I started my channel, I said if I ever got to interview Eddie George, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do this anymore. There's nothing left for me to do. And it was a dream come true, man. Like I said, my favorite player of all time, and for him to like actually acknowledge me and say like, "Hey, I appreciate your platform, what you do." I was like, I did it. I was like,
I'll die now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, I am good. Yeah, I was just like, now don't get me wrong. I had maybe over 20 players I've interviewed like throughout my time on YouTube. I had Delaney Walker, Kevin Dyson, Jason McCourty, Kevin Carter, Drew Bennett, Billy Volek, Dexter McCluster, Mike Keith, Ryan Arakpo, Mike Griffin. But at that time, before Eddie George, my biggest one I would say would be, and this is like random, it's not even a player, but is Amy Wells. She's
mm-hmm.
the
Titans Amy.
Yeah. Just
she's
because
good.
no one ever had her on, not that I know. No one's ever interviewed her before like that, so I felt like that was a little bit like, and I worked hard to get that interview, so I felt like a little bit more guarded on that one because I'm like, man, I got Amy Wells, but I mean Delaney Walker too. Delaney Walker was a cool, and the story behind Delaney Walker of how I got that interview was cool too. As you see the jerseys right here in the back, I randomly tweeted out, I had that jersey, I took a picture of it. I'm like, hey Delaney, would you mind by any chance signing my jersey. And he said, yeah. He said, oh, don't worry. He goes, oh, definitely. He's like, just we'll meet up. And I was like, oh, maybe he's just being nice. And again, a lot of people think I live in Nashville. So when I messaged him, he was like, oh, just meet me. I'm like, well, I'm in Dallas. And he's like, oh, let me know when you're in town and we'll meet up. And I was like, I've gotten a lot of people that said lots of things like, hey, we'll do this, and then never. So I'm like, okay, that's probably going to be a no, but whatever. So I get to Nashville. I forgot it was one of the games. I message him like, hey, Delaney, by any chance, I'm going to be here this weekend, whatever. And we got to meet up at a bar. We hung out, we drank, and then at the end, he signed my jersey and everything. And he was cool people. Just to kind of like, like just me randomly. He's like, but he said definitely. I was like, so how did you like not think I was like a freak or anything? He's like, no. He's like, I looked you up. Trust me, I wasn't gonna. He's like, I wasn't gonna meet you up. Just like I looked you up and I saw some of your videos. And so I was like, so it was legit. So it was cool, man. That's like,
good.
like I said, it was one of those stories where it was kind of cool just to have him on, like I said, and just see him in his own environment and stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome because the Niners were done with him.
well,
Yeah.
he had
No, I was mad.
by the way, which is cool, you
Yeah.
know, when he first got there and stuff. So.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I was mad when he
guys-
left because it was cool to have Vernon Davis and him running around. Like those
Yeah.
options were
Yeah.
pretty freaking cool. And I legit was mad when he left. But I mean, I got it because he's a number one out there playing a number two.
Exactly.
So I got it. But
Got his chance to shine. Like you said, in the
Yeah.
49ers, he wouldn't have done what he did in his career. With the Titans.
exactly,
he made Mariota look good.
He really did.
which
There's
is impossible.
a lot of time.
I know
A lot.
people. Alex and I are in the same boat. We are openly not Mariota supporters. We're the same way. We're like, wherever you wear the jersey, we support you. Doesn't mean we have to be a zealot. And
Yeah.
we both were very vocal and open about that, and caught a lot of flack for it. I think most Titans fans have come full circle now and have realized that, hey, maybe they were up in their feelings a little too much with him. But
Again, it's a weird switch when he left. Everybody liked him. When he was with the team, everyone didn't like him. I'm telling you, it's all over the place. Like I said, I understand he was kind of like the movement of the Titans, the movement with the Titans of how they got a little bit better and then they became relevant again. But in reality, he wasn't good. He was a nice guy. He wasn't good.
Cool, nice guy you had to go out and drink with, but that's Delaney Walker. No, that is really cool that you're able to do that. I had a chance to I live in Colts country, and Jeff Saturday is like the guy. He's the main lineman that everyone knows. He hiked the ball to Peyton Manning. Well, for the 49ers, that guy's Jesse Sapolu. He won 4 Super Bowls, 3 with Joe Montana, and 1 with Steve Young. He was all pro like 8 times. Great dude. And I got a chance to interview him on my 49er podcast.
Cool.
And shout out to episode 15 with Johnny Dell. We go over dynasties, and we kind of go over which was the best dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that show with Johnny Dell, our 49er podcast. And just to talk to him, he told a story about Deion Sanders that he said he's never really told before. I mean, it's just really cool to talk to these people. They're so cool and so genuine. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm interviewing, this guy. It's surreal, right? Like you grew up watching them on TV and thinking they're like a literal titan, a literal god, and now they're just hanging out with you. Just, oh yeah, that was cool. And then Deion Sanders said that and we did this. And you're like, what?
Yeah, no. And a lot of people, I hate when people are like, oh, you're so lucky. You got to, I'm like, no, I'm not lucky. Like I busted my ass.
I worked my ass off to get.
I worked my ass off to get here and to kind of get and not to like try to toot my own horn or anything, but like to get kind of the recognition or the eyes, because there's a lot of players and sometimes some things like that just snowball into each other. Like I've had Kevin Carter, which he works for CBS News Sports for college. And I feel like that snowballed into Coach Watterson, which was our strength and conditioning coach. And Albert Hainsworth reached out to me because, he liked, Coach Watterson and stuff like that. And it just all like, it starts connecting like that. And I think that's the cool part about having the channel and the opportunities I got were really, really cool. And the people I got to meet, meeting Ti and other people that are fans as well. So it's a nice full circle moment, just not only meeting players, but meeting fans that become friends and become closer. So
Yeah, man, that is so cool. Even if you are not a Titans fan, obviously it sounds like you are an amazing follow. So again, the link is in the description. It's in the show notes, along with the links to our swag. Be sure to follow us wherever you grab your social media at Sports Idiot Nation. Shout out to Miles behind enemy lines, who is always with us in spirit until he is back with us. Dude, thanks so much for coming on. You definitely got to come on again when Miles is back, and we'll link you guys so that you guys can hang, because it sounds like you're a stone's throw away from him.
Yeah,
so
and actually,
we'll get you linked.
Let's do this, Alex. Before we bounce off here, plug your event that you come to Nashville and do every year. And what we'll do is when it's getting close to that in the season, like we'll have you back on and we'll kind of give you, a chance to promote up the event.
Yeah, but give us a heads up about it right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's called the Mr. Titan event, and it's something I always wanted. Like I said, the YouTube channel was always there, but I always wanted to do a little bit more than just a YouTube channel. I wanted to make it like the most, I guess, positive Titans community ever, and try to build my little group. And like Ti, I mean, I made a YouTube channel just because I live in Dallas and no one knows anything about the Titans at that time. When I would go and want to talk about the Titans, everyone just talked about Derrick Henry, and that's it. So I was just like, I wanted to make my own little world. And after that, once I kind of built that, I was like, man, I really wanted to do an event. But I also want to help people out. Like, how do I mix that into one? And, I talked to a couple people that live in Nashville. I'm like, hey, I kind of want to do an event. Where do I do it? We got a spot called The Rudder. It's going to be my 5th year doing it. It's a restaurant right off in Hendersonville. It's right off the lake. I rent out the whole back patio. So you see the lake. It has its bar. I finally got a DJ. And it's just an event. It's a Saturday. It's a home opener right before, so it's a home opener. So it's usually that Saturday, not, we don't do no tailgate Sunday. And basically it's an all day event from 1:00, I think, till usually it's like till 5 PM. And it's just a gathering, man. It's just a gathering of people that know each other. And like I said, I do raffles. I do players. I try to get at least a player or two. Last year we had Donnie Nicky, which was our safety back in the day, and Dexter McCluster, who played for the Chiefs and was a running back for the Titans. Had them come up. Usually what I try to do, and I do it for every event, everything, all the proceeds that I get from the the raffles, I sell event shirts, anything like that goes towards a charity. Like, that was like my main goal I wanted to do. I wanted to put towards a charity. So every year we try to come up with, I didn't want the same charity. So every year we come up with another charity. The first year that I did the Mr. Titan event, we had a kid. He was 20 years old. His name's Bryce, and he has cerebral palsy. He lives in Chattanooga, which is like 2 or 3 hours away from Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And we raised enough money to get him to a first game, because he's in a wheelchair. We got him a van, we got him a driver, we got him a hotel, and we got him his first game for the Titans. Awesome. And we actually got him on the field. But that wasn't only my help. I mean, there was Haley, there was There was a bunch of people that really, really helped me out on that, which is a really cool event. I loved it because we helped him out just to see him. He had a game ball. Derrick Henry walked up to him, signed a couple things. Ryan Tannehill came up. So just to see that, and I mean, it was stressful, don't get me wrong, especially the day of. But when I was done, I know I told everyone, like, I want to do something like this again. Like it felt good. Like I'm exhausted, but like in my heart, I know like I love doing this. I love helping people. So like I said, the second year that we did, I forgot what we did. I know the third year we did Hope for Kids, which is again, he's a 7-year-old. His name's Landon. He has a lot of different conditions, and his foundation is called Hope for Kids. So we raised enough money. It's a nonprofit organization to help children with severe cancer and stuff like that. We got all the shirts and stuff, and we made shirts for him. Got him enough money as well. And then last year we did emergency response fund through United Way of Sumner County, which is the city of Hendersonville, and they got hit with the hurricanes or tornadoes and wiped out half of the. Like I said, it's on the lake, and it knocked out half the dock. Luckily, the restaurant wasn't affected, but around the area was messed up, and that's their clientele. So I wanted to give back to the community, especially if they helped me out. So last year was that. So haven't thought of what it's going to be for the event this year, but like I said, it's always going to a charity, and it's always the first home opener of the first game of the season. Hopefully, it's a home opener. So yeah, man, it's been growing every year. It gets bigger and bigger, and obviously we change it up. You know, the first year I didn't have a DJ, I didn't have a microphone. We had like 10 little items, and I was calling from the people. Now I have a microphone, I have a DJ, I have a nice setup. So it's changed.
T-Rex there. You got T-Rex. That's all you need.
I had our mascot there as well. So yeah, man, it's something that's grown into a tradition that a lot of people, even from outside, they're like, hey, I have a guy his name's Taylor from California. He's like, hey, definitely will be there for your event, and it's cool just to have that support of people. Like, hey,
is that Taylor that runs the California Titans?
Yeah.
I met him that weekend. Yeah, I met him at your event, and then at DraftKings that night.
Yeah. So yeah, and there are definitely people that have Chad from Chattanooga. He'll come down and he'll stay. He's like, yeah, I bought a hotel just to stay Saturday night to go to your event. So it's something, like I said, it has come to be a tradition and just a nice little vibe. And it's cool to have all the Titan fans there just right before the season starts. Hopefully not.
Yeah, everybody when they're in good spirits.
When they're in good spirits, right. Which is good. If I did it,
they're undefeated.
Yeah,
would be no one would show up. But like I said, it's been good.
In good spirits after you beat the 49ers in a preseason game, and you say, "Hey, we beat the Niners." Yeah, in preseason. I was at that game. I was at that game last year, the preseason game. Which, by the way, we play in the regular season. We'll have to come up with our bet for the Niners-Titans game that's in out west. But we're going to have you back on for sure that Thursday before that Saturday, so that we can really let people know.
Hey, I'm down to do crazy bets, man. I lost 2 years in a row with a Bills fan. I've thrown myself into a table while drinking beer, and I've been sprayed by ketchup and mustard before. I do it all, man.
Maybe I'll just have to send you this or something, and you have to wear it, or like, I don't know.
It's fine. The last time someone gave me a Cowboys thing, you see right there? That was the Monday game that we beat them right there. It's the only thing in the Cowboy I have. I crossed out the star and I put the.
We'll have to get you some Niners gear because, as you know, Robert Saleh's back. We're going to be healthy, and it's going to be bad news for the NFL. The good news for you is you got to be a part of an amazing episode, guys. You listeners, you sinners, thanks for hanging out with us. Great show. Holy cow. Again, follow us at Sports Idiot Nation wherever you get your social media. follow Mr. Titan. Again, just click the links right here. Also, to get a cool mug. You can get a really cool mug. Click the link, hang out, and of course, thank you to Mr. Titan for hanging out. Shout out to Miles, and we will see you Monday.
Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.